So, I wanted to speak with you about self-doubt and self-criticism, because I feel like this is taking away a large portion of the enjoyment of life. And what do I mean by that? I feel like we're often doubting ourselves for minor details that happen throughout our lives. And I myself have been dealing with a lot of self-doubt and self-criticism over the past couple of months, as I've been writing more, and some of you might know I've been working on my first book, and it's called Become Like the Sun. And it's funny because in the book I talk about a young adult, a young man who wants to find himself and wants to be confident with who he is and wants to live a joyful life. And a lot of what he's going through is based on what I'm going through or have been going through in the past. And it's funny because as I was writing a section in the book about self-doubt and self-criticism, I was criticizing my own work. And it made me realize that it's really easy for us to criticize ourselves. It's almost like a reflex to what we're doing. And it's not just with the work we do. I also see it coming back in social situations or in love. And in those situations where we are with others and talking about whatever you're talking about, we often instantly have a reflex to criticize ourselves when we say something stupid or fumble around with words or don't know what to say. We start to blush and talk bad about ourselves innerly within our minds. Of course, never on the outside. And that's really what this is about. Self-criticism and doubt often happen within ourselves, and it never hits the light of day, because if we doubt ourselves and put that out in the world, it will only create more doubt. It's like this continuous loop of doubting oneself, and that's why I wanted to create this and talk about it, to break that loop for myself and to show you that we don't need to doubt ourselves, that there is actually a beauty hidden within this, a lesson to learn from it. Because I feel like when we're doubting ourselves, we aren't really confident or trusting, not with ourselves but with life in general. And I can give you an example for that. I've been doubting whether the content I'm creating or the thoughts I'm expressing are good enough and actually of some sort of value to others. And that doubt takes away from the joy of actually creating and putting it out there and seeing what you guys think of it. And that doubt isn't because I doubt you or your reactions. I don't doubt if people are gonna hate on it or don't like it or think of it as mediocre or bad content. I doubt about it because I don't fully trust my own work yet. I don't fully trust myself for doing it and putting stuff out there. And that's often why we doubt and why we criticize ourselves, because we are not confident, fully confident with who we are. That's what doubt is. Doubt is not feeling confident with who you are, with the things you lack and the things you're good at. It's social situations where you fumble around with words just like I did now. Even though the other person doesn't care about that fumbling around with words. You might laugh about it and it's done. They won't criticize you for it. They won't think of you as awkward or weird. It's just a thought you created in your head. And that's creating this continuous loop of doubt. When you make a mistake, you start doubting yourself, and because you doubt yourself, you make more mistakes, and this keeps on going because you get caught up in your head. And that's what happened with me, that I started to doubt if anything of what I was creating was good enough. And for that very reason, I started to enjoy the creation process less often, and therefore my work started lacking the urgency and the professionality that I can put in. And thus the cycle continued, and I wanted to share with you how we can move past this. How we can actually stop criticizing ourselves and stop doubting ourselves. Because I feel like if we do this, if we stop doubting ourselves and just put ourselves out there in whatever way that is, that doesn't mean you have to put yourself out there in a creative way like I do with either writing or with video content or audio content. It can also be putting yourself out there in public with friends or with strangers. It can be stepping up to a stranger just to have a talk with them, or to not feel awkward and uncomfortable when you have to talk to someone, and to not criticize yourself if you make a mistake. And the way out of self-doubt and self-criticism is to love yourself for the mistakes you make, instead of criticizing yourself for the mistakes you make. And the moment I realized this, I actually started doing this in the last couple of weeks. I often fumble around with words and stumble and make mistakes, and it can get really awkward and people don't understand what I'm trying to say, or they don't hear what I'm saying. But instead of feeling awkward and starting to blush and all the things you do when you start to doubt and criticize yourself, I laughed about it. And I made a joke of it. I knew that this was uncomfortable, awkward, but why not stand in my confidence and be confident about who I am, about the mistakes I make. We all do this, we are all human, we all feel uncomfortable at times, we all doubt ourselves at times, we all criticize ourselves at times, and there's no need to completely get rid of this because it's just something naturally happening within our brain that just happens. We're kind of used to criticizing ourselves when these things happen. And we take ourselves so serious. I take myself so serious at some points, in which I believe that I shouldn't make mistakes, or I shouldn't fuck up, or I take my work way too serious and that it should be at the professional level of people who have been in this world for more than a decade or decades maybe. And by taking ourselves less serious, and that sounds like we're taking a piss on ourselves or making fun of ourselves, but it isn't. It is just recognizing the human part within us. Doubt and self-criticizing happen when we feel like we make mistakes that we shouldn't make. But there's no mistake we shouldn't make. We can't stop ourselves from making mistakes. We can't stop ourselves from putting work out there that's not good enough yet. That's something part of, I believe, life, to never be fully content with whatever you put out there, and that's not a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing to put something out there, knowing that it's not perfect. And why is that beautiful? Because you show you're human, because you show that you are not perfect, and in that imperfection often lies the beauty for someone else. Because if one of my pieces of writing isn't perfect and there is a slip up or something isn't just right, it's just not working for the reader, that means the reader can fix that in his mind, and that makes it perfect. Some people will criticize it, some people will talk down on you, and that's just the way this world works. But most people see that mistake, and instead of criticizing you, which you think they will, they instead see that you're human too, that you too make mistakes. So what's the takeaway here? What can you take away into your day-to-day life that will make you say, today I lived? It's this: that doubting yourself or self-criticizing is actually taking away from your experience of life. That doesn't mean you should get rid of it. We can't. It's something that happens, and that's part of life. Instead, enjoy these mistakes. Don't take life and yourself so serious. Make fun of them. Make them your unique quality. If you fumble around, if you make mistakes, if you do something that's awkward, make it your own. Make it unique. Make it who you are. And most of all, don't talk down on yourself. You're just as human as everyone else, and you make mistakes. It's part of who you are. It's part of this life, and it allows you to grow and always try something new when you make mistakes. It's what makes us human. It's what makes us beautiful. For a life that's perfect would be boring, and the same would be about us. If you would be perfect, or if I would be perfect, there wouldn't be any joy in watching this. It's me trying to fumble around with words and trying to find the right things to say that makes this authentic, unique, and actually valuable. Because you see me struggling whilst I'm talking about doubt and self-criticism. And that makes it me. Actually me. So, before clicking away of this video and ending it, take a deep breath. Close your eyes and think of a moment in which you doubted yourself, in which you actually criticized yourself. What did you do? Did you make a mistake whilst doing a school presentation? Did you fumble around with words in front of your crush? Or are you criticizing the work you created? Whatever it may be, relive that moment and try to see the humor in it. The thing that could make you smile, that you could actually make a joke about. See if you can love yourself for making that slip up or mistake, or if you can see and love yourself for the work you created. It might not be the best work you did, or it might not be the best work you'll ever do. But can you at least love yourself that you did the work and that you created it? See that version of you that's criticizing itself and try to make it laugh. Try to enjoy the slip up or the mistake you made. And when you're ready, open your eyes slowly. Take one last big breath, release it, and see that actually all your mistakes, all your doubt and all your criticism are okay. That they actually make you who you are and actually make you unique, authentic and beautiful. Love yourself for them. For today we live, and we should make the most of it by loving ourselves and the mistakes and doubts and criticism we have over ourselves. This is part of life too. Remember that today you lived. Make the most of every minute you got.